Russian dissidents too, we should remember, not just citizens of the West, but some Russian citizens as well. The first person there is Paul Whelan, I believe, the former Marine.
Which is very interesting. Paul Whelan, his case became somewhat controversial when they didn't get him out at the same time they swapped that Russian arms dealer for Brittany Griner. So this was seen as, yeah, that's Paul Whelan coming out.
Held in Russia for more than 5 years. He was born in Canada, a former US Marine who served for a number of years. He was then became an executive for a motor supplier, a car parts supplier, but now back on US soil and having a conversation there with Kamala Harris and an embrace there of President Biden as he is about to be welcomed back by his loved ones as well.
Yeah, a former Marine. He was detained when he went to Russia to attend the wedding of another Marine who was marrying a Russian woman, and it was seen as highly provocative that he was detained. And then you can hear the cheers from the crowd there as well. You kind of wonder how many of that's family and friends, and maybe the press getting excited as well.
Oh, there he is, Evan. Evan's off. This is great. Embracing the president, Evan Gershkovich, embracing Joe Biden, greeted by Kamala Harris too. He's meant to have a great personality, great sense of humour. We saw him give the love symbol as well behind that glass in that show trial, but how nice to have him back as well in the United States, Annalise.
Yeah, it did seem like a lot of the advocacy for him, obviously News Corp lobbied extremely hard on his behalf, but it seemed like he did actually just have a lot of friends in DC, like people who just genuinely liked him, which I think always helps in a situation like this. And he does apparently have a very good sense of humour. Even when he was sentenced to 16 years, apparently he smiled at his lawyers and said, well, I thought it'd be worse, which is a pretty glass half full way to look at 16 years potentially in Russian custody.
Fantastic. Yeah, these are beautiful pictures, Annalise Nielsen, as we saw Evan Gershkovich there, a big bear hug for his mum, and just beautiful, beautiful images for his loved ones. It's not without its risk, a diplomatic exchange or a prisoner swap like this, and really some, when you think about the Russians that were freed, the terrible acts that some of those individuals we know did carry out, these were show trials. Certainly when it comes to the people that we're seeing walk off the plane now and were wrongfully detained. But it is good news, and lovely to see them embraced by their family and friends, as we see now Alsu Kurmasheva, a Russian-American journalist. She works for the US-funded Radio Free Europe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the awful calculus in all this, is that they detain just really innocent civilians or people engaged in journalism, which they don't take too kindly to. And then in return, well, we're not doing that. We don't take people prisoner for things like that, but we're ending up trading back really awful mercenaries and assassins, and the cycle continues. But I just don't think anyone could look at these pictures at this moment and not be grateful that these people are being reunited with their families. And geez, Evan looks chill. He looks pretty relaxed after that big hug for his mum, who I think we also learned through the that Wall Street Journal piece was a pretty pivotal part in negotiating all this on behalf of her son. It just goes to show you never know when your moment's going to be called up for your kids, but people meet that moment, and she obviously did. It is just absolutely astounding what they've survived.
These pictures, and you touched on it earlier, but we're looking at it now from our perspective, commenting on the events of what is a big moment in diplomatic and political history, and really resonates with the Cold War. These images of the prisoner swap in Ankara in Turkey. Now they've flown here and they're back. Let's listen to Joe Biden if he's saying a few words.
Alliances make a difference. They stepped up. They took a chance for us. It mattered a lot. So I'm delighted they're home.
You said earlier that all these negotiations require tough calls. What was the toughest call in this one?
The toughest call on this one for other countries is I asked them to do some things that were against their immediate self-interest, and really very difficult for them to do, particularly Germany and Slovenia. Slovenia came in at the last minute, and I tell you what, the Chancellor was incredible. He was incredible.
So what's your message to other countries that may think that taking Americans into their custody, unlawfully detaining them, would be a good way to get something that they want from us?
Hey, look, that's been the case for all of history. My job is to make sure, number one, they don't get them. If they do, we get them back. I don't buy this idea that you're going to let these people rot in jail because other people may be captured. We will set out all the notifications to all the other countries, all our citizens, what countries not to go to, what to do, what not to do, and they got to pay attention. I got more work to do. So.
This is an extraordinary day, and I'm very thankful for our president and what he has done over his entire career, but in particular as it relates to these families and these individuals, what he has been able to do to bring the allies together on many issues, but in particular this one. This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day. You can see it in the families, in their eyes, and in their cries.
When did you know you got the deal done?
A while ago. We got to make sure, wanted to make sure everything was in place. And Slovenia made the right move at the right time. So anyway, look, it's time to trust. And really, I mean it. I know everybody thinks I talk about the notion of relationships with foreign policy with other countries. Much of it, and you've heard me kid with Barack, kid me, all politics is personal. It matters. Other leaders trust you, you trust them, you get things done. And that's how this got done. A lot of help. Anyway, thank you.
How worried are you that
I'm very concerned about it. I had a very direct meeting with Prime Minister today, and very direct. We have the basis for a ceasefire. He should move on it, and they should move on it now.
is the chance for a ceasefire ruined after the assassination of Hania?
It's not helped. That's all I'm going to say right now.